Thanks for joining us at Right On Replicas, where we're proud to bring you the best scale model kit reviews on the planet.
This review covers the 1934 Street Rod 5-window coupe from AMT. It's kit number 11384. It's a 1/25th scale kit with a skill level of 2, which was released in 2023. Now, I think it might be a little light. I think some of the fiddly parts in here might push it past a 2 and into a more intermediate and advanced level just to get these suspension parts together. It was originally issued in the 80s and it's been reissued many times, probably a dozen times in different stock or street rod forms. Some of the issues here could have been built either way, but this particular issue only builds as a street rod. The only options in it are some different tail lights. It's molded in white, chrome, and clear, and contains 111 parts. Now the tires are nice. They're hollow and they've got sidewall script on the rears, but not on the front. The kit is listed as a 2, but as we mentioned, it could be a little challenging for the beginner. And when you're done, the model measures about 7 inches long, 3 inches high, and 3 inches wide.
This review is brought to you in part by Ryder's Hobby Shops, where the fun begins. Stop in to one of Ryder's 2 convenient Michigan locations where you'll find a full range of the latest hobby products, supplies, parts, tools, and paint.
Here are all the parts to build the kit, and as you can see, it's pretty cleanly molded. They've done a good job of maintaining these molds even as many times as this kit's been reissued. I guess they would probably have to. But the chrome is still pretty bright. The windows are a little thick, that's an older design, and that might benefit from a dip in the old floor polish. The tires are definitely fatties, and we'll talk about those later. Here are the decals for the kit, and they're actually very nice. They have 2 colors of flames to pretty much go with just about any exterior color, and the register is pretty good for them, and a few little rat rod style decals and plates, but overall they're very nice to usable decals, but I chose not to use them. I was looking for that really clean street rod look like they have on the box art. Well, we've got the basic parts for the engine out here. You see the 2 engine halves and the cylinder heads. Also, it's got a nice looking deep sump pump, and we've painted the Chevy orange as well as the aluminum transmission. It's got a chrome front end too. The kit comes with some great looking chromed headers, and they're 2-piece units. You have to glue them together. Now you also have to remember to scrape any chrome plating off of the areas that need to contact each other for glue points so that they'll stick together. Same will go for paint if you get into that in the rest of the model. So you see the manifold here has been painted aluminum, as well as the carburetor, kind of a polished aluminum look. Now the belts and the distributor cap, those are flat black. And the pulleys there are aluminum color as well. You'll need these parts to make the motor too, and as you can see, some nice Edelbrock chrome valve covers there, along with a starter that's chrome plated, and of course the air cleaner. Those pieces will be all assembled. They all go together very well. There's no issues on assembly of this big stroker. So here's what the engine looks like when it's all assembled. As you can see, it's a right fine and proper motor for a street rod like this. A great big 383 cubic inch V8. They've been known to push 500 horsepower with the right combination of cams, etc. So take a look here at the various colors. Most of them already seen. It's a pretty basic engine build, and it goes together easily. We'll work on the tires and wheels now. You see the wheel backs have been painted steel silver color. The 50 Mercury hubcaps and chromies are really a nice addition for this model. Now it looks like they were looking for the wow factor on this kit. The tires are You can put anything you want in the back as long as they fit, but the fronts are kind of fat for street rod tires, but they really look intimidating when you put them into a body like this. The fronts are wide, low-profile tires. There's no script on the sidewalls, but you could add that with some decals. There is script work on the rears, which you could very carefully pick out or cover with a decal as well. But they're a simple sandwich type. You just squeeze the inner and outers between, around the tires, and you're set to go. So here we'll work on the interior. The interior was painted a tan color, and of course you can see the firewall there. We'll talk about that later. The steering column and the steering wheel are done. That was painted with a dark wood walnut tone, along with some chrome spokes and stalks, and the rest is the same interior color as is the package shelf and the dashboard. Now the gauges in the kit were more or less for a stock car, so OEM type, and I got these off of the internet, just printed them out on some paper and used those. And the pedals are black except for the chrome surfaces there, and then this assembles very easily. It all goes together pretty well, and I think in this color it's very complementary to the exterior green. Now it's time to work on the body. You see the two pieces there is typical for these older cars, and they've got fenders with braces in the middle. Those will have to be clipped out. I also see the parting line on the body there along the drip edge and the fenders, and those will need to be sanded off and cleaned up. Also, you'll find that the inner fenders have some ejector pin marks that need to be filled in and cleaned up, as well as a number of pieces on the bottom of the fenders. Now we'll assemble the pieces, and there's a peculiarity with this kit in that the window frame is separate. Now I believe that's probably if you wanted to chrome that, paint it separately so that it looks nice, but in my case that's going to get painted body color to enhance the street rod look. Now the inner rear fender wells, they could be painted and added later, but in the instruction it says to put them in first. But this is going to give you a little difficulty in placing the interior into position later on. So you might want to just go ahead and paint that separately and then add them after the interior bucket's installed. The interior bucket is installed or assembled here, as you see, and it goes together very easily. The shifter goes there in the center, of course, and that's a chrome piece. The dash slides right in as an assembly. The rear package shelf too. There's not much to the interior, of course, and just make sure that you glue the firewall into position properly and get it fully seated. Now seat the interior bucket into the body, as you see here. You use some prefab before you actually put glue to it, and make sure that you scrape off any paint from the contact points. So go ahead and look for those positions, and then add your glue, and make sure that it's fully seated so that it's not too low in the cab. Gather up the parts for the front suspension. As you see, the bottom portion has been painted there. The frame parts are semi-gloss black, and the lower body parts are body color. The pieces that are all chrome there, the front end pieces, will need to be scraped clean where they're to be glued together, or they won't stick. So make sure you get a thorough job of doing that first. Just a little detail here, the upper A-arm there, control arm for the wheels, that needs to be right in the center where that red arrow is pointing. That needs to be painted body color because it's going to stick out. You'll see it. And now with the addition here of the lower control arms, the coil springs in the center, and the spindles, you can see this is the completed assembly, and this is what you're going for on the front end there. Here are the parts for the back end, suspension, the half axles, and the transverse leaf, and then of course the differential. You can see the colorations there, so we'll assemble that and put that into place. With the main portions assembled, you can see we've added the stabilizer bar at the bottom on the underside, and Make sure you scrape off chrome and paint when you are putting parts together so they stick. Now test fit the torque arms. You see here the plated parts, and we'll be adding those to the ends of the axles. And once those are in place and the glue has dried, the rear axle subassembly is then complete. Scrape the plating from the ends of the stabilizer bar and the locating post for the shock absorbers, and then go ahead and put a little light slow setting glue on the stabilizer end, and then drop the whole assembly into position, locating the shocks into their respective mounting holes as well. And they fit right into the spaces allotted for them. Just make sure you've got a good glue surface to do that with. Next, we'll put the drivetrain and the radiator into place. You see the drive shaft there, and then just to the left of that is a small little wishbone shaped piece, and that's your support. So when you go ahead and locate and test fit all this first, locate your motor to the frame, okay? And then once you know where it's going to go, make sure you scrape off any paint there. Now, when you're putting the engine into position on the frame, you're going to glue the differential at the end of the transmission there and protrude that back through and then into the differential. And then after that is done, go ahead and add your centerpiece to underneath that. And then, of course, assemble the radiator and its parts and put those into position as well. Add your exhaust, steel painted pipes and aluminum mufflers to their locating points at the back, and also, of course, to the ends of the exhaust manifold. Now we'll add the wheels assemblies to the spindles on the fronts and backs. Remember, the larger ones go in the back, and the smaller, just as wide ones go in front. Now it's time to mate the body to the fender group. You can see that I painted the fenders gloss black, and there's a matte black for the running boards there on the step area. We've also want to use some strong glue for this, but you want to test fit it first to make sure that everything fits properly. And if you need to, sand off some areas so that they fit perfectly, do that first, and then glue it into position with some strong glue. Things will start to come together quickly here. As you can see, we're going to add that body assembly to the frame, and we use the same process. Test fit it first, make sure it all fits into place, locate the positions where the parts will be glued together, then scrape any paint away, and then add some slow setting glue, that is strong glue like a medium CA or epoxy, to drop the frame and the body together. Here are the parts for the hood and the grill, and the grill gets a little black wash to highlight the ribs on there, and then the black will just slide into the crevices. The hood also has a hinge right down the middle, so you can carefully paint that with chrome or silver, or use some bare metal foil. And then there's a hood ornament that goes right there at the front in the center. I suggest you put the grill into place with slow setting glue, and then the hood into position, and then glue the side walls curtains into that after everything else is aligned, so that it will have perfect alignment between all four pieces. Test fit the window frame for the windshield, and then scrape the glue or the chrome and the paint away from the areas to glue it into position, and do the same thing likewise with the front bumper. On this model, if you're going to use the stock tail lights, horns, or headlights, you'll need to open up the holes for those that are marked on the underside of the body, and etc. On the back end here, we'll add the fuel cap for the gas tank, the stalk, and the plate for displaying the license plate. And we're going to paint the clear lens for the tail lights with a little stoplight red, transparent, and add those to the bezels and put them in place, along with the rear bumper. Now things are shaping up here. We're going to add the door handles, the cowl lights there just in front of, just behind the hood, and also we're going to put the lenses into place in the headlight bezels with some clear or white glue, and go ahead and get those started. We're going to then also add the horns to the sides of the skirts there by the grill, and then go ahead and install the headlight bezels into their positions as well. These are the parts that I had left over. Of course, most of the decal sheet except for one license plate item, and the other parts are meant for other versions of this kit except for optional taillights. We wrapping up our construction now. Well, there you have it. Your model is complete. The classic lines of this 32 Roadster have been modified and used in just about every automotive form possible, and that's why the popularity of that ubiquitous presence of the 32 Ford lends itself so well to model subjects. Now, you can make it yourself in those various forms, but this is pretty much a street rod single-purpose kit, and so that's the way I made it. And as you can see, it does have that nice, clean street rod look, especially with those chromy hubcaps, etc., and the simple styling of the body, the two-tone paint. So, if I were you, I'd buy one and put it on my shelf. Thanks for joining us at Right On Replicas, where we bring you the best scale model kit reviews on the planet. And if you don't want to miss any more, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. You can do that by clicking on the icon in the lower right of any of our reviews, or find us at Facebook or our own website, rightonreplicas.com. Thanks.